It's been a big day in class. Your teacher covered lots of new material and you've been busy taking notes. When the bell rings, you close your notebook and tuck it away in your backpack. What do you do with the notes you take in class? Many students don't do much with their notes at all. They often end up lost or forgotten, never to be seen again. Others try to review their notes to study but find they're disorganized or hard to understand, and not all that useful. In this lesson, we'll learn how to use Cornell Notes to make note-taking easier and more effective. Here are the essentials. Cornell Notes are a style of note-taking designed to help students take organized, effective notes from lessons, readings, or videos. They were developed by Walter Pock, a professor at Cornell University who noticed that students were struggling, not because they weren't studying or paying attention in class, but because the notes they took weren't as helpful as they could be. Cornell Notes are simple to set up and easy to review. They're organized and even include built-in study questions. Research shows that students who use this system remember more of what they've learned in class and perform better on exams. What are Cornell Notes? Cornell Notes are a style of note-taking that helps students remember important information from class, perform better on tests, and organize their ideas with study questions. They're also flexible and can be taken by hand or on a computer. To get started using Cornell Notes, create a header section at the top of the page. This is where you'll write the date, subject, and lesson title. Next, divide the rest of the page into 3 sections like this. On the right side, create a wider column for your notes. This is where you'll record the main ideas and key points you want to remember. Label the narrower column on the left Cues. This is where you'll create prompts and questions that will help you study later. At the bottom of the page, add a short section labeled Summary for a quick recap of what's covered on this page of notes. Now, let's see how to fill the sections in. As you're listening to a lesson, reviewing a video, or reading a textbook, take notes in the Notes area. Use any format you like: outlines, doodles, bulleted lists, or diagrams, as long as you capture the main ideas that are covered. Don't try to write notes verbatim or word for word from the lesson. Instead, focus on identifying the most important concepts and put them into your own words. Using symbols and abbreviations can help you take notes more quickly and keep them short. Which of these should you do in the Notes area of Cornell Notes? Rephrasing key ideas helps you understand and remember the information. Using symbols and abbreviations helps you take notes faster and use less space. After class, review all the notes you took. As you review, think of questions that could be answered by your notes and add them to the Cues column. You can use them to study later. Some students even fold their notes along the line between the Cues and Notes columns to quiz themselves, similar to using flashcards. Be sure to include any key terms so you can test yourself on their definitions. You can adapt the Cues column to include anything else you need to remember, like quotes, dates, names, or memorization tricks. Take a look at these notes. Which question would be the best choice for the Cues column? What are carbohydrates made of? Would be a great choice for the Cues column on this page of notes. Once you've taken your notes and added questions and key terms to the Cues column, it's time to write your summary. In 1 to 3 sentences, restate the main ideas covered on this page of notes. It should be more than just the topic of the lesson. Try to briefly capture the most important ideas in your notes. Let's look at an example. Which summary is better? This example is best because it provides a brief yet detailed explanation of the main ideas in the notes. You can customize Cornell Notes to fit your individual needs and style. Try adjusting the size of the columns in different ways and get creative with your formatting. By experimenting to figure out what works best for you, you can be sure your notes are always well organized and useful for studying. Let's try it out. Watch this video and decide what to include in your Cornell Notes.
Following World War II, leaders joined together in an effort to define and safeguard human rights, rights that are believed to belong to every person. In this lesson, we'll learn about human rights and how they're threatened and protected around the world.
What subject should go in the header for this lesson?
In 1945, dozens of nations came together to found an organization called the United Nations, or the UN, in an effort to maintain international security and peace, foster cooperation around the world, and improve social conditions.
Which of these ideas should go in the notes section?
In 1948, a draft was completed and given a name, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. This document, which was drafted by a committee headed by former First Lady Eleanor Roosevelt, outlined the basic rights and freedoms that many UN member nations believed should belong to every individual, everywhere.
Based on these notes, which study question would go best in the Q's column? Why was the UN created is one study question that could go in the Q's column. It would also be a good idea to include questions or prompts for key terms like human rights, the United Nations, and the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Once you've filled the page, all that's left is to summarize your notes with a couple of sentences to briefly recap the main ideas. See? It's just that easy. Here are a few key things to remember about Cornell Notes. Divide the page into 3 sections: Cues, Notes, and Summary. Rephrase key ideas in the Notes section. Write questions and prompts in the Cues section. Briefly recap the main ideas in the Summary section. Customize and see what works best for you. Now, try it out yourself. Let's look at the notes we just completed together. Write a brief summary of the main ideas on this page. Those are the key points when it comes to Cornell Notes. Thanks for unlocking your potential with us.